Yo, what's up, people? Welcome to another episode of the Can't Believe I Made It podcast. I'm your high performance mentor and podcast host, Desi Abeda. All right, so we're kicking off with season 7. I made some changes when we had first started because I'm recognizing the season that I'm in. And so I wanted to be able to provide you with value in a couple different ways. And one of the things that I loved from past seasons was the Things You Need to Hear series, where we broke down TED Talks, we broke down different audio, and so I wanted to make some change to that. So instead of it's the things you need to hear, it's going to be the listen up series. So with today's listen up series, and so with these are likely going to be anywhere from about 15 to 20 minutes, something that's a bit more digestible. And so I wanted to make sure that you are ongoingly as a pod family getting that type of value. So in today's listen up series, we're actually going to be able to celebrate one of hip hop community's um, TED Talks. All right. So this TED Talk comes from Grammy nominated rapper Corday, who honestly has quietly become one of this generation's most trusted narrators. I mean, if you kind of look at where he's come from, he's from that generation, that new generation of hip hop, who was weaned into the internet in a way where they were able to leverage platforms like SoundCloud or YouTube to get their art out there. Whereas before, it was mainly gatekept by a lot of the record labels. And so you weren't really able to see a great deal of talent unless they were signed to a major label. And I feel like this new class of hip hop artists are really getting creative in the way that they share their craft and the way that they share their music. We haven't really talked a great deal about that, but I mean, let's look at other artists like T-Pain or other artists like Vince Staples. They're two examples of people who are making tremendous impact and tremendous money through streams and through providing their music through video games and other things. And I feel like this new generation of hip hop artists are incredibly creative in the way that they get their craft out. And so when I first heard that Corday rocked a TED stage, like, to me, if it's like if you can combine hip hop and sports and then also the TED stage, like those are my three favorite things in life. And so I actually got passed this along by one of our pod listeners and pod family. Cyrus, shout out to you, bro. He sent me this, and I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to change the Things You Need to Hear series into the Listen Up series, where I'm blindly reacting to TED Talks or to different audios or to videos and providing some commentary. So I thought that it would be cool. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and try this on StreamYard. Hopefully it works. Hopefully there isn't any glitches. But I'm trying something new today. So I'm going to be blindly reacting to Corday's How a High Level Mindset Helps You Realize Your Potential.
How's everybody doing today?
So cool seeing him on this stage, man.
So, for those of you who may not know who I am, which is probably the vast majority of you all, my name is Corday. I'm 24 years old. I was born in Raleigh, North Carolina, but was raised majority in Suitland, Maryland, which made me who I am today. I'm a hip hop artist. More specifically, a Grammy-nominated hip hop artist.
Hey, let's go.
A quote-unquote critically acclaimed, world-renowned B-list celebrity. But to be honest, more like B-. But again, you all can just call me Corday and assume that I'm almost kind of a big deal because I am here doing a TED Talk.
Facts.
Now, I know what you're thinking. What does a 24-year-old rapper possibly have to say during a TED Talk? Like, who cares what Ja Rule thinks, you know? But I'm here to talk about my mantra and my way of life that has gotten me this far and can hopefully take me a lot further on my journey as I'm just getting started. And that's the high level mindset. Now, before I get into the details about the high level mindset, I want to tell you about the original creator of the high level mindset. And that's my mom. And she doesn't even know it. My mom had me when she was 16 years old. She was a single mom with all the odds stacked against her. And yet, from an unbiased perspective, I like to say she did a pretty decent job. We lived in some pretty terrible neighborhoods, man. I switched elementary schools about 5 different times. I remember one time her car had got stolen twice in 1 week. She overcame circumstance, obstacles, her environment, and negativity as I watched our living situations would continue to get better and better as the years went by. Now that's high level. Now, the high level mindset wasn't something that she directly taught me or purposefully instilled in me, but something I learned simply by observation.
So I want to pause it real quick. I think that we can all agree that if we're in a place where we are comfortable in our healing journey and kind of going through that process of trying to love the imperfect parts of yourselves and trying to show up as your highest and healthiest selves, I think that we can acknowledge that those that were able to mentor us through life did the best that they could with what they had. And some of that might be good, bad, or indifferent. But I think even right now, as Corday is talking about this, this is why we're trying to really lean heavy into making sure that you, as the listener, as someone who's a part of the podcast family, as the high performer, as the high level person in your life, this is why it's imperative that we keep your side of the street clean, because we know this next generation is watching. And you don't have to be a parent for that. I'm sure you have little ones in your lives. I'm sure you have other people that likely look up to you. And in a lot of ways, you might not even know it. So, shout out to those who are mentors. Shout out to our parents. Shout out to my mom. 100%, mom. You are someone who has taught me my mindset today.
The high level mindset is a philosophy, it's a wavelength to apply to your everyday thoughts or regimen. The high level mindset will be of great service to you, especially when things aren't going as planned. These trying times that I speak of, or life testers, if you may, are what truly maketh man and woman. Actually, scratch that. How we handle these lifetimes, these trying times, or life testers, is what decides a person's destiny, which brings me to step one of the high level mindset. And that's always remain positive, no matter what people or life may throw at you. Now, I'm gonna give you a little bit of background about myself. Funny enough, I was actually voted most likely to be famous in both middle school and in high school.
I love it.
Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm sorry, I haven't always been this good looking. It takes a little bit of time. Um, my goal was to graduate high school and to immediately blow up, but that didn't happen. So I went to college. And as soon as I went to college, boy, did life hit me hard. Um, Within the first couple weeks of school, one of my best friends that I called my brother had gotten sentenced to 24 years in prison. I had gotten detained for driving with a suspended license, amongst other things like having a pound of weed in the car before it was legal. And my grandmother had passed. Not to mention, I was already a terrible student with horrific grades and a broke teenager. And I wonder why my grades were so bad. Now that's just disrespectful. I wasn't even trying to hide it. But on top of all of these things, what was really the breaking point for me was that I had released a mixtape that I worked on the entire summer, and it had only gotten 200 downloads. Now, my previous two mixtapes got 2,000 downloads. So I was not happy with the regression, to say the least. Again, this almost pushed me to the brink of quitting and insanity. But the high level mindset made me think, man, these misfortunes are just going to make my triumph story a lot cooler.
Listen, I think he's tapping into something that I think is so important. And I'm so glad we addressed this in last week's Mentorship Monday episode. This process of trying to be a high level human, right? Trying to be a high performing human, it can't come without those valleys. These peaks can't come without the valleys. And so when you're in that valley or in that place where there is some regression in the way that he talked about. I mean, I talked about this in the end of this last season. My very first program that I launched that I was so proud of, that I put so much effort in, crickets. Literally crickets. So after I kind of dust myself off, I was like, all right, cool. This is a marathon. I'm going to keep going because I have people that I'm honoring with my work ethic. I have people that are counting on me. And even more so, like I need to honor the people that have gotten me to where I am today. And I need to also honor the people that are going to follow me. So, again, regression, we need to sit still in it and we need to find a way to keep going. And this is where purpose comes in. I love this so far.
I, I use this as fuel to the fire, motivation, if you will. It made me think, life is just a book. Not every chapter is going to be perfect, but it's about how it ends, which brings me to the second step of the high level mindset. Always be intentional with your desires.
I love that.
Know exactly what you want. In 2018, I created a vision board. At the beginning of 2018, I created a vision
Oh my
board.
gosh, if y'all aren't doing
I'm proud
this,
to say that
please
with
do.
the high level mindset, within 1 year, I almost accomplished everything on here. Y'all can clap for that.
I'm gonna clap for that shit.
So I encourage you to just write down your goals. Starting off your day with reading your goals and dreams aloud gives you a boost of positive energy.
It does.
This energy can be transmuted into something we call faith. Faith in your ability, faith in yourself, faith in the higher power will take you to places you couldn't even imagine. Know exactly what you want. How can you be high level if you don't know what high level is to you? And in order to do all these things, it brings me to the third step of the high level mindset: discipline. Growing up, discipline was always taught in such a lame way that I always tried my best to avoid it.
For real. For real.
But where motivation is low, that's where discipline kicks in. Anybody who's done something noteworthy with their lives all have one thing in common, and that's discipline. Mastering the art of discipline will literally change your life. I witnessed this close hand by studying a friend up close. This friend of mine noticed that every time he stopped doing drugs and alcohol, something good would happen.
I mean,
He felt as though this was a divine calling from heaven above to halt all his vices. Now, can anyone tell me the three main vices of a 19-year-old college student?
oh God.
It's sex, alcohol, and drugs. If y'all didn't know that already.
Yeah.
And after the first 6 months of him stopping his vices, I seen his whole life change completely. Again, he thought this was a sign that maybe God doesn't want me to do drugs, drink alcohol, or have sex. But no, that's not the case. Thank you. He was just simply learning discipline without knowing. All right, I have a confession to make. Because I didn't want to make this entire TED talk about myself, I lied and said that this is a friend. It was actually me.
Hey, a lot can happen with free
Now,
mind space, people.
A cheat code to ensure that you're staying disciplined to whatever you're striving for is to prime your environment for success. Your habits are based on your habitat. And the main product of your habitat are the people in your life, which brings me to a very important step of the high level mindset.
All right. Whoa. Your habits are a part of your habitat. And what is consistent of your habitat is that social five that we've talked about, the 5 most people that you hang around with. So I can guarantee that if you hang around with 5 people who make excuses, give into their limiting beliefs, complain, and stay in that place of being stuck, 100% you're likely to become the 6th. And the opposite is true too. Wow. Cordat, I love this so far, bro.
The fourth step, to be exact: remove all negative people out of your life immediately.
Social
Anybody
5.
that's semi-doubtful
Social
or
5.
naysaying, get them out. If you're talking about your dreams and goals and they give small, sarcastic remarks, boot them. Just
Get their
all
asses out of
around
here.
negative Nancy, kick them out of there, man. Does anybody in the audience know somebody that's like that? Please raise your hand.
Everyone.
I need y'all to do me a favor. pull your phones out and block them immediately. No. I'm dead serious. Don't let someone else's negativity cancel out your light, for it can temporarily get in the way of you achieving what's owed to you. You are a product of those who you hang around. Let's make sure we're hanging around other positive, high-level individuals. Now, thank you.
I love that.
Now, I like to consider myself a master of this high-level stuff. I mean, I am here for a reason, right? But that doesn't mean things always go my way. Even now, I just recently released my sophomore album from a bird's eye view that I spent 2 full years creating. My debut album, The Lost Boy, was met with massive critical acclaim and success, and I had a lot of pressure on myself to outdo myself.
Yep.
And in my eyes and in the eyes of many, I did. I had huge expectations for this album. But when it finally released and it wasn't received as well as I hoped, I completely broke down. I did my fasting. I stayed positive. I wrote down my dreams and goals. I was disciplined. I was doing this every day to make sure that this big moment that it was leading up to that would change the entire world will go through perfectly. But that didn't happen. I did not meet the expectations that I had set for myself, that the world had set for me. And this is the first time as a major artist that I had received mixed reviews of my art. And again, it broke me down, man.
It's hard.
I became unmotivated. I started overindulging in things that I'm not proud of. I was almost thinking about canceling my upcoming tour. I was in a very dark place. But then I heard this Yiddish proverb that ASAP Rocky actually told me about at a most important time, and I'm sure he didn't even know it. It's we plan and God laughs. And that made me think the high-level mindset is not a recipe for perfection, but a commitment to honoring your potential and what you have to offer the world.
Yes.
Don't let your small failures make you lose sight of your bigger picture. I'll leave you all with this. We only have one life to live, 110 years maximum if you're a health guru and you have great health insurance. How are you going to maximize your time on this earth? Do you want your name to be remembered long after you're gone? The high-level mindset is about doing everything that you put your hands on at the highest level that you're capable of doing. Think of your life as a book. Again, each chapter isn't going to be perfect, but how do you want your story to end? In anguish, a bunch of what ifs, or leaving a legacy? I choose legacy, the high-level way. Thank you.
Yo. That was great. Oh, all right. A couple things that Corday is kind of leaving us with. One, take the time to map out your goals, please. Because in doing so, it's going to provide you with a couple things. One, anything that we're trying to do is we're trying to create different neural pathways. If you kind of want to think about it as this, right? Because there's a lot of communication going on in the brain, and a thought process has oftentimes become rituals and habits, right? And so part of that, and if you kind of want to think about it this way, is like all of us probably go a certain way home, right? We take the same place every single time. But every single time, if there seems to be some sort of crash or that road becomes unsafe, and you continually choose to do that and continually complain about the traffic or continually complain about how unsafe you are on that road, naturally you want to keep your body safe and try to take another route, right? And let's just say this other route is also faster, quicker, and safer. And now that you know that other route is faster, quicker, and safer, and you're choosing to go on the dangerous route home, you're creating a pathway for yourself towards danger versus trying something new out, finding the safer pathway. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. As we build goals, as we build goal systems, it has everything to do with us trying to prime you for habits that are fulfilling to you. I loved what he had said. Habits come from your habitat. They're cued, they're triggered by your habitat. So your environment matters, people. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and end it with this. I love this. I'm going to continue to blind react. I hope you all love this too. But let's go ahead and make sure that in anything that we're doing, let's recognize that we're going to go through seasons, going to go through chapters that aren't the best, but the way that we lead is through purpose and through legacy. Okay. It's funny that I'm wearing this shirt right now. I didn't even mean to do this. Again, I'm blind reacting to this. So for those who can't see, hop on our YouTube channel. If you're a Spotify listener, you're going to be able to see this as well. I'm wearing a Stay Purposeful shirt just because there's no such thing as coincidence, right? All right. So without further ado, let's make sure. Listen, people, I had a lot of fun in season 6, celebrating like, hey, please like and subscribe. Please give me a comment. Please 5 stars, whatever that is. Look, when you take the time to rate different artists, different content creators, stuff like that, like you're giving them an opportunity to be seen. And so if you haven't had this opportunity yet, please make sure that you subscribe on iTunes. Please make sure that you share this podcast. If there's a message that resonated with you, please make sure that you take some time just to say what up. I always love to communicate with you all. So y'all have a great week. I love you all. See you on the next episode. Let's get it.